Welcome to Elite Force Staffing's podcast, where we talk shop about the world of construction staffing, industrial and commercial projects, and sometimes absolutely nothing of importance. In today's episode, we have Kory Clayton back on the show, giving some insight on how he gains the trust of employees, keeps him happy, and thus continuing to want to work with us. It's all about that long view. Enjoy.
All right, everybody. It's Brent Waters here. I've got Kory Clayton, one of our national account reps, with me today. And today we're going to speak mostly about how to create loyal field employees. That's the big thing we're trying to get across today. It is a week before Thanksgiving. We're in the season of thanks here. World's a bit crazy right now. For some reason, I'm reacting right now with a very thankful heart and a very grateful heart, despite things being not typical at all. And so, but we are very happy. And one of the things that we're obviously very grateful for is our field employees. With what we do here at Elite Force, they're everything. I mean, if we didn't have these folks out working every day in the field, I mean, none of us would be here. None of our clients would be getting their projects completed. And so, I talked to a lot of folks over the years about what we do, and everybody asks, first and foremost, gosh, how do you guys find these people? And that's a whole different podcast. That's a whole different discussion because there's a certain art to it. And I'd like to think we're pretty good at it, if not one of the best. But just as important as finding these people is keeping them. And, up until this whole COVID thing, the economy was chugging along pretty good. And, it was getting harder and harder. And it's been getting harder and harder to find people for the last 10 years. And people say, gosh, how do you guys keep these people? I mean, there's so many opportunities. I mean, and there are. I mean, you can go on Craigslist, you can go on Indeed, and
everywhere.
I mean, there's, and obviously it becomes, we know seasonally, that pay rate goes up throughout the year, supply and demand. And so this discussion, like a lot of other things that I've said, is these aren't techniques that we use here. This is not proprietary. This is some very fundamental stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and spoiler alert right now and tell you that we're not going to give you anything brand new today. We're just gonna drive home some really simple, fundamental things about how we operate. And I think at the end of the day, the takeaway here is treat people with respect. That's really what it comes down to. And then it's everything that falls underneath that. So, Kory and I chatted a little bit about this, and we're completely on the same page with all of this. Everyone here is. We all really believe in these things. We would probably have a difficult time working with someone who didn't. So the biggest thing is honesty.
For sure.
And, you get on the phone with somebody, you're talking to them about a project. It's really easy. You're under a lot of pressure from the client. The client's, Kory, I really need somebody out here, and I need somebody for a week, but we've got to get this done. And, when we get on the phone with our employees, we tell them, hey man, this is a week. This job's a week long. We really need you. It'd be very easy. And I know other staffing companies do this. Hey man, they're going to need you out there for, 2 or 3 months. And if this is local work or travel work, you're talking about somebody picking up and driving hours and hours and hours.
Sometimes the same day.
Yeah.
They're just, all right, I'm ready.
Exactly. And I think to me, this is about the long view. This is about looking at down the road versus just looking for the quick buck. So, be honest with your people. Tell them, hey, this is what the client is saying. If the client says that the job is 4 to 6 weeks, don't tell them it's 6 weeks. Yep. Tell them it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Be totally honest. Let them make the decision. If they don't want to do that, if they've got a better opportunity, let them make that call. But what we never want is someone coming back and saying, hey, man, you told me that this job was going to be whatever. And there's times when there's an incident on a job, there's whatever. And
Other factors do play in. Other
It does happen,
variables.
and that's
Yes.
out of our control, and we hate when it happens,
Yep.
but it does. So, the other part of that is be honest about what the job entails. What is the scope of the work? Because it might not be a good fit for that person. And so, we're obviously getting a lot of detail from our clients on what they need these people to do. Tell them what they're going to be doing every day. Let them know about anything negative so that they can make a good decision for themselves. And once again, if they decide to pass on this one, not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. Everything will be fine. We'll continue on. So honesty is huge for us. Secondly, what I call is a sense of urgency, and this is a two-part thing, right? One thing that, and a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is stuff that we've heard from guys and gals that have said, hey, this is what happened with this company. Whether it was a staffing company or whether it was another contractor. So these are all lessons that we've learned partially from our employees. And, one of the things we hear is, I worked this job. It was 6 months, 8 months. It was great. It was 50 hours a week. I finished up the job, and then the company ghosted on me.
Yep.
They wouldn't pick the phone up. And, that's disrespectful. So we can't control everything with our clients. Jobs end. Kory, I know, you can pick up the phone and reach out and say, hey, I've got a group of 10 that are fantastic. Do you have anywhere you can put them? And sometimes people bite on it, because they need them.
Yeah.
But not always.
No.
There's not much. We can't control everything. And so, but we need to have a sense of urgency and, communicating with our clients, knowing when the job's going to end, and then doing everything we can to try to find a place for these people to go. If we can't, we can't. And once again, go back to honesty. Be honest with them. Hey, man, at this point in the game, we don't have anything. These people got families. They got bills to pay, right? This is one thing I've said for years is, we can offer medical, dental, vision. We can offer 401k. We can offer all these things. But the number one benefit to me is keeping people working. None of that stuff matters if you're going to sit for, 20 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And then Kory, one thing we talked about was dealing with issues. And with the sense of urgency, people call, hey man, I'm having this problem out here with this, whether it's dealing with another person on the job or something about the job. And it's really easy to say, hey, look, just, good luck, deal with it, hope that it goes away. It doesn't really go away.
No, and that's the beauty of it. You get that from the client side and you get that from the worker side. But I've heard from exchanges of workers that I've had that some firms don't look out for them that way. They're not very responsive sometimes. And I just got a call the other night at 10:30, picked up the phone, talked to the guy. In his area, he didn't want to leave home because it's close to home right now, or close to the holidays. So I didn't have anything around in that area for him. But it was I just picked up the phone, stayed in touch with him, and all that. So, it's like you said, just being available, or when there's a fire that does pop up, being there for him too, even in the down times. Mm-hmm. So, both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and it's hard. In this business, it's cyclical. We're going into the holidays.
Yeah.
We know things are going to slow and jobs are going to start to let up. And, a lot of folks are calling, hey, what do you guys have? And, we pick the phone up and we tell them exactly what's going on. What's the probability of, because in this industry, changes like that and something could pop. And
I tell guys that all the time.
Kory could be missing an order right now.
Yeah, my phone's buzzing over there.
And so that does happen. But just let people know what to expect. Give them the opportunity to, and we've done this with clients as well. I've heard you say this to somebody. Hey, look, you need this many people. This is what we have. If we're not performing for you, feel free to call somebody else. Once again, it's about the long view.
Yep.
Sure. And I think it goes back to respect. It's, do you actually really care about the client? Because if you care about the client, you're going to look out for their interests, and you're not going to mind if they do that because they've got stuff they've got to get done. We're not always going to be able to deliver.
Yeah, that also creates trust in them, which therefore, that helps you get better details for the job, which to the worker, I mean, it keeps it a smooth transition all the way down from the top to the bottom. And so if you can build that trust there, then you can build that trust on the bottom. It makes everything so much smoother.
Yeah, and one thing that you jumped into about that call earlier in the week, which was the next thing on this list, is communication and availability. I mean, we got guys working, split shifts all over the country, different time zones.
Yep.
And, things happen and they need you to be there for them. And I cannot tell you how many times, we've been able to save a situation because, at 5 a.m, someone calls and says, hey, this is what's going on. And I really need to talk to you right now about this. And, you take that call and, sometimes, these are human beings.
Yes.
And sometimes, people just need someone to chat with about something that's going on. And I know that sounds, I mean, it really is that way. And I think it's just giving them somebody to chat with, to talk about what's happening, give them an ear. A lot of the problems go away at that point. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they don't. And sometimes we have to make these calls and deal with those situations. But once again, if you don't, chances are it's going to get worse. And it's going to end up more or less kind of infecting an entire job site. And that's the last thing we want to see. We want these people to be out, feeling good about what they're doing, and just knowing that we're there for them. And in an average day, your phone is constantly ringing. And these are people in the 5 years you've been doing this. You've got people that worked for you, have worked for you continuously. You've got people that worked for you 3 years ago. Yeah. Evan's the same way. Boris is the same way. Kory's the same way. These people, and once again, I go back and look at the same thing. It's not some secret sauce, but why is it that, these people call and say, hey, Kory, do you have any work? I've got these 5 other companies that are calling me, but I really want to work with you.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
All the time. And it's not because we're overpaying people.
And we get new clients that way, too.
Well exactly. Yeah. No. It's because, do unto others as you'd like them to do. It's that mentality. It's, hey, treat people the way you want to be treated, right?
Yep.
And, the clients respect the fact that we treat the workers that way as well.
Well, I think that goes a long way when you're coming up, when a company is coming to a guy, hey, we want you to work with us. Now, my loyalty's with Elite. Check them out, talk to them. I think that goes a long way as far as our credibility, because it's that's a guy that they want to hire. Okay, well, if he's working with these people, then they obviously got something good going on.
Yeah, well, it's either way, it's an incredibly powerful thing. Mm-hmm. And I do think that we like to, we try to have a lot of fun in here. We try to keep it light, try to keep it, just.
We don't try, we do.
We do, but and I think that also, guys come in here to pick up stuff, maybe they got to come and pick up a document or something, and they'll ask me, hey, is Evan here? Is Kory here? They want to come out and chat with you guys, and like I said, it's amazing to me how simple it is, just treating people the right way. So we've talked about kind of the big tenets of this approach and how we do. There's a couple things I wanted to bring up that I think you, when trying to create loyal employees, that you don't do. And I think this is just as important. And one of them is there are times when a prospective client or a client calls and says, hey, I've got an 8-month job or a year job, and this is really what we are trying to pay on this job, and we have to make the decision, do we want to go to our employees and say, hey, look, this is what, we're going to go to bat for you, but this is what the client wants to pay. It's $1 or $2 under what you're used to making, but it's a long-term opportunity. And I think there's times when, we can do that, but I think going to employees and asking them constantly to take a pay cut, when you don't have to.
Yeah.
And, we try to get as much as we possibly can. And for all the years I've been doing this, I've said, and for this to really be like a symbiotic deal, it's three parts, right? It's got to work for the employee, it's got to work for the client, it's got to work for us. We obviously have to keep the lights on here, right? So that we've got what we have to do. The employee has to be an opportunity that they like, that's compensated them fairly, and our client has to be in a situation where they feel like they're paying a marketable rate and they are liking the output.
Yep.
And I will
Getting
say,
value from it.
yeah, chances are, if one of those three things isn't working,
yes,
in the long run, it busts.
Yep.
It just does happen. But I will tell you that I know that a lot of these other big, more corporate type skilled trade staffing companies make it a practice to, hey, you bring that person in at $20, see if you can get them to take 17.
Yep.
That's more profit for us.
Happens every day.
Once again, that is not a long view. That's let's make the money now versus looking at the bigger picture. This is all about discipline, and it's hard, but you guys don't seem to have any problem doing it.
Yeah, and that comes along with that honesty again, that we're pretty straightforward with our clients. Therefore, we don't have to sneak around. I guess sneak around is not the right word, but manipulate the margin to try to make more. We're very transparent in how we operate, and that trickles down to our workers.
Yeah.
We're upfront and honest with them, because they're always asking for more money, and things
Sure.
like that too. And some guys have been burned out there, and they think that companies are holding on them, holding a dollar or two, which some of them are. It's just not how we operate.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think once again, it's what we've learned about doing this is from the experiences that these people have brought to us and said, hey, this is what happened to me here, this is what happened to me here, and it's, I'm like, dude, you don't have to worry about that happening. We don't do that.
But you build that trust over time, and then they know.
Yeah.
It doesn't take too long.
Yeah, and it's and there's also things dealing with little pay issues that happen. We have a lot of people working, and we know late in the week that we're going to probably have, regardless of how precise we are with our payroll, we're going to have some.
Yeah, and that's a testament to the ladies in the office
Sure.
too. So that helps us build trust, not only with us being the mouthpiece of the company and them dealing with us, but them just knowing. They come to know Ashley, they come to know Tori, mm-hmm. Christy, and all of them. It's built from everyone here, all the way around. That if an issue does pop up, we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things is you don't want to mess with guys' money. That's plain and simple. It's a pretty straightforward thing, and you work with them and you have that trust. They're willing to work with you, get it fixed, and then everything's good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And the last thing I think, along with these things we don't want to do, is we don't want to put our employees in a position where they're not going to be successful. And that could be, there is, it may be someone who's not used to being on the road, and you try to push them to go travel.
Yep.
Putting someone in a position that, is above their skill level. It just creates a bad taste for everybody, the client, and the employee as well. So, sometimes, we try to, you might accidentally really push that square peg in the round hole. You don't really mean to do it. And one thing, that we try to do as a group here is, and, the last couple of days we've been doing it, is, hey, what do you think about this person? Well, let's chat, let's talk. That person is kind of a neck up guy. That person can program, but are they a troubleshooter? Mm-hmm. And we all sit around and talk about this and say, hey, do we feel like this is the right fit? And once again, it's discipline. It's really easy to say, well, let's just try it. Now we could talk to the customer and say, hey, this is what we think. What do you think? Give them the opportunity, because in some instances they might say, hey, that might work for us.
Yep.
And that's, like I said, a lot of these things we're talking about today, they transfer over to the client as well. Communication, honesty, availability. I always tell Kory, you're the frankest person I think I've ever met. And you eliminate a lot of problems by just being upfront from the very beginning. And for being the sprightly, 25-year-old gentleman you are, I don't know where you got it from, but you're probably better at it than I am. But, somebody, you let people know, hey, this is the way it is. This is what to expect from the very beginning.
It alleviates all the issues down the road.
Yeah.
It makes things so much simpler and smooth. And, you get it out there and you talk about it and it's expressed, and you give realistic expectations to the workers and the clients. There's a reason why, like me and Evan, we've been successful in the time that we've been here, and because there's a lot of turnover in this industry. But I think we harp on that honesty trait so much, and it's helped us to be successful.
Yeah, no, I think once again, it's basic, it's fundamental. It does take a lot of discipline. Like I said, this time of year, with the cyclical nature of what we do, things start to slow, and as we said earlier, and a lot of guys and gals are calling looking for work right now, and we all have bad days, and I used to tell people, to take a little green dot and put it on the back of your phone, and anytime that phone rings, look at that green dot, and it reminds you to smile and to be patient. Because when you're getting those calls all day, it can get kind of tough. But once again, it's just, hey, I really appreciate all that you've done for us. We are working to find something else for you. But right now, with Thanksgiving next week, and then we're getting into Christmas, it's just going to be slow. But at the same time, we're going to keep trying, and that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And chances are. If you lose somebody, and I've always said this with employees and clients, if you lose an employee or a client because you're honest with them, it's probably not somebody you want to work with anyway.
Yeah, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
Some things are, some things aren't.
If someone calls and says, I need people in Tampa tomorrow, and you say, hey, right now we're just not going to be able to do that, and they never call us again, that's just fine, because that's just the way we are.
Yeah.
So bottom line, folks, pretty basic. Treat people with respect, and respect creates loyalty. So everybody, let's everybody be thankful this time of year. Take a little time off and get our heads straight, and we'll get through this.
We'll be just fine.
That's right.
We'll be just fine.